Good morning, team. Uwe Jacobs, property strategist from Property Friends. Today with David Forrest, the director of Cairns Central First National in Cairns, obviously. Welcome, David.
Good morning, Uwe, and thank you for the invitation.
Thanks for joining us. I have invited David. There are some updates to the tenancy legislation in Queensland. Through the REIQ, we got notification of that and obviously followed through on it. And I thought rather than me talking, I get the experts involved. So, David, can you tell us about what the updates are all about?
Yes, well, I'll certainly have a crack at it, Uwe, and there's probably things have been changing since September last year. But as of this moment, let's talk about the measures that continue to apply. It's not necessarily a COVID issue, but measures surrounding domestic violence and the ability to leave a tenancy relatively quickly are still in place, and I don't think anyone would have any issue about that at all. It's a good provision, and I think that will continue for a long time yet. I think that the intention of the Queensland government anyway is to enshrine that in future legislation, which is supported through the industry. Protections against tenants being listed in a tenancy database for rent arrears caused by COVID-19, they are still in place. And basically what that means is if you've got a tenant who has suffered because of COVID environment and not able to pay their rent, then an agency is not allowed to register them on databases such as Ticker for rent arrears and that sort of thing. And that's even after they vacate. So if there's bond shortages and that sort of thing, that's included as well. As that's my understanding anyway. So yeah, that will remain in place. I think the next review is September this year. Although I think this is being reviewed constantly, but that's when I expect it to be looked at. Limits relating to costs for eligible tenants who end their fixed term lease early. The maximum of 1 week, provided they can demonstrate that they are at least 75% affected by the COVID environment. So that's still in place. And short-term tenancy statement extensions for movable dwellings is not something, it's there, but I don't understand it, and we don't do movable dwellings. And if you are in the movable dwellings market, and look, to be quite honest with you, to all your listeners, I'd be advising that they speak directly to their property manager to get the advice that they need, rather than just take everything from this particular viewing.
Sure.
Measures no longer in place. They started last year from April 21 this year. Entry restrictions and requirements to support COVID social distancing measures and relaxed repair and maintenance obligations. They just allow us to do our job much more like we were doing it before. So and those entry restrictions have been relaxed. From September of last year, the measures that were taken back then include the 6-month eviction moratorium. So there was you could not kick a tenant out, if I have to use that crude term, because there was a moratorium in place. That's now gone. Fixed term tenancy agreement extensions for COVID, you had to give an extension no matter what the issue was. That's no longer in place. I'm referring to some notes here. Ending agreement provisions that prevent property owners ending tenancies with COVID-19 impacted tenants without grounds. That's ended. You could not give a tenant notice to vacate at the end of a lease with no grounds. And the only reasons that you could give were that you were going to occupy it or you were going to sell it. So that's now gone. So we're sort of, as you can see, all these things are bringing us back to a little bit of normality. Adjustment of rent and bond processes that support parties negotiating arrangements to manage COVID-19 impacts on their tenancies. We're not being forced into this, and the mandatory conciliation process has gone. So there is no compelling force to make us conciliate, to enter into some sort of conciliation with tenants. I'd have to say that, and that's pretty much the environment that we're in at the moment. And I'd have to say that we have a fairly large rent. We don't have anybody at this stage on a COVID-related relief package or dealing with anything like that. And I think we've been incredibly lucky, to be quite honest with you. And I'm pretty sure that that's not just us in Cairns, that's across the board. So Cairns, whilst we did and still are in some circumstances suffering with our tourism and so on, we have been very lucky with the disease itself. The economic impacts have been severe, but in terms of the rent rolls, it's been pretty good indeed.
Mm. So what it sounds to me is that we're getting back to, if I can say it in those words, a bit more normality.
Yeah, look, I think the issues that face us now, obviously there's nervousness about the disease coming down from the north, but I believe that the health department's doing a tremendous job in looking after that. And from an economic perspective, border closures are still an issue for us. And when I say an issue, what happens when borders close is bookings up here are good at the moment, but then people start cancelling because of border closures. And if they are sort of quick, rapid fire type closures, then most of the accommodation and hospitality are stocked up ready for good bookings. So all that goes to waste, and it is a tough time. That sort of thing is hard up here.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Look, I want to keep this short and sharp. So, anything else that you want to add, David?
No, I think we're in a market that's still ticking along quite nicely. I think that it's our rental returns are very, very good and have been rising for some time now. I think no point telling you that because you monitor it anyway. Our vacancy rate here at the office has not been above 1% for as long as I can remember. I think Tuesday, we do a measure every Tuesday. Tuesday was 0.6%. Our vacancy rate's obviously very low. We're getting massive numbers of applications. Last month we got 396 applications, I think it was.
For how many properties?
Well, I think we were advertising around 25, and we leased 19.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's. I'm sort of doing some research at the moment on the dwindling market in the private rental and investment market at the moment. It would seem to me that the private rental market is shrinking, and when you have vacancy rates at 0.6, and we're not the only ones that are in this position. I think you've got a situation where we're heading towards a housing crisis, if not already. I've had a single mother in tears on the phone rang me trying to work out how she can get a property because she'd been trying and trying and trying. I had a principal for one of our schools earlier on in the year ring me and say, what can she do? She's got a teacher that she's brought up from South and she cannot get a rental property. And if she doesn't get a rental property in the next couple of weeks, she's going to have to go back home. So we're actually losing professionals because of the situation. And I think there really does need to be some sort of a new view of the private investment people. I think people seem to think that if a property manager, an investor has an investment property, that they're rich. Well, it's just not the case. But what they are doing is they are helping our market and helping people that need to rent.
I would fully agree with you. I mean, this is also the reason why we are so interested in the Cairns market ourselves as property friends and as investors. It's a great return, and it's been very, very stable even during difficult times. And the only bugbear, and I see that as part of the reason why some investors are selling, the cost of doing business, especially in regard to rates in Cairns and insurances, is quite high. Now, the returns can cover that, and that makes it worthwhile. So, yeah, look, I love the area, and I think it's a great opportunity for people to come and invest in a very stable return. And in my view, there's bound to be some capital growth as well because of the pent-up demand.
Yeah, I think so. And I think you brought up another issue, the insurance. My understanding is that there's been significant money earmarked to assist with the high cost of insurance. So that's something that we're looking forward to.
Okay, fantastic. All right, David, thank you very much for joining us. Much
Pleasure.
appreciated. And take care and have a good day.
See you, mate.
Bye-bye.